Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are looking at the Lambda Shuttle. Now, as we go through the Lambda Shuttle, as you notice, I do have some older shuttles here. We do have an older Lambda Shuttle from Galoob, and this is an old Sentinel class shuttle. So you can definitely tell that when we have our newer version, we have a lot bigger scale here, and I think it's a lot more representative to the correct scale. Maybe it isn't 100%, but it's a lot better than what we had gotten before. And in our new one, we do have Emperor Palpatine, as well as two of the Imperial Royal Guards. So, kind of looking at this, let's kind of take our old one here first so you get an idea of where we came from and where we are going. So, these were done in a very basic form. All the ships were really being were being kept in a similar size packaging, so they really limited as to how big they went. We did have the cannons, and they were on a turret here, so that is kind of nice. We do have enough room for 2 personnel in the cockpit. Again, I will say I do like how the old cockpits were in a way, because you could just slap the figures in. You didn't have to try and sit it underneath the console or anything. So I will say that was a nice feature. The downfall is our landing gear is taking up the internal here. Now, you have to have room for the landing gear, and I understand that, but the way this is set up, we don't have any interior here. This just is what it is. And the only thing you're going to get in here is just those 2 figures. We do have, of course, a couple cannons in the front on turrets, as well as a couple fixed cannons. There is a rear cannon in the back. So I definitely learned that one when we were doing Star Wars Galaxies many, many years ago, trying to attack one of these. The only real safe spot was more or less either underneath or directly on top to be able to get to this without taking on some sort of fire. So with that being said, it just is a kind of, it's a well-designed ship in those ways. I mean, you're not going to be able to kind of surprise attack it very easily. Now when we get to our Sentinel class, this is more of the landing ship. So this is an upgraded, bigger version. This is really more of a landing ship for our troops. And of course, when we look inside, we do have enough room for 2 pilots. We do have a side compartment here, so you could actually maybe get someone else in here, or if you're just playing, you could have someone standing here trying to work on things. But that's all we really have for internal. Now we do have a turret that sits here sideways, or on the top here. You have to turn it sideways in order to push it down, and then that closes underneath here. This is like a precursor to what we have for our astromech droids today, where I could push this up and we start getting our cannon. Then I can finish it off, pull it up the rest of the way, because I got fat fingers. This might be fine for little kids, but my fat fingers just don't want to work very well. And once you turn it sideways, it's not going to go down. But that cannon is a turreted cannon that's supposed to be above the cockpit to try and help keep everyone safe. Of course, we're going to have torpedo launchers as well as cannons here on the sides. And I think there would be 1 extra gun in the back. And keeping our landing gear at a minimum, this is what we have. Although I think if you actually watch like Star Wars Rebels, where they actually have one of these in there, you see that it actually has 4 landing gear off on the side. So you get to see that a little bit. And of course, this folds up, the landing gear goes back here, and then we have a nice silhouette. It does have that nice silhouette. Nope, I'm a little high. It has a nice silhouette. I think it works really nice for the time being that it was, but in today, when we're actually getting a Lambda shuttle that is now this big. So let's look at this together. Let's see what we have. So this looks like, if we have a joint here, this should kind of come up. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how to do this without breaking anything. All right, so as we look inside, we now have room for 4 people in the cockpit, which is just wonderful. One of the downfalls is, I mean, these are here to hold the figures in place. Kind of a downfall because now you have to try and get them in there, which is not the easiest, especially when we're talking about this is really meant for kids. Trying to remember how much this cost. I think I got this off of Amazon for like 20 something, almost $30. A little on the expensive side for a kid. For us as adults, as collectors, not too bad. I chalk it up as like the cost of getting one of the action figures for the Black Series or classified or what have you. Okay, and it actually has the 2 clips back here. We do have the wings, which we will get to as we look at this. We still have our rotating cannons, and as you can see now, these are quad cannons. On our old ones, it looks like they're just duals, but now they're quads. And in the back, we actually see the cannon better. So that works out really nice here. We have a good look there. Now, looking underneath here, this is our landing gear. Okay. And that is, I believe, very similar to what we had in the movies, where it was just the 2, but technically it's 3 because when we bring down our stretch here, our ramp, I think our ramp becomes our 3rd one. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if that goes, no, I guess that does go down enough. And then that becomes our 3rd rung there. So it does, yeah, it's nice. It's just trying to get everything else. There's a compartment in here, so we got to get that opened up, and we got to figure out exactly what we have. Now this almost looks like there's 2 different compartments because I got a spot here, and it looks like this comes off. So let's see what we all have, how this comes off without me breaking anything. So I want to see underneath here, 'cause like any kid, you want to see exactly how much fun play area you get. Oh, come on. And I wonder why I'm not having fingernails, because trying to get these open. Because I know this opens. Just trying to figure out exactly where and how. Okay. That's probably why, because it actually gets held down there. Okay. So when we look inside, hopefully you guys can see this. We have 3 chairs here. We have a spot for a speeder bike or something. Actually, no, that's for Palpatine himself, as well as 3 chairs on the other side here. So if I get my finger out of the way and you can look at it, we have 3 chairs on this side, 3 chairs on this side, plus Palpatine's got a spot there. This still looks like this should, in a way, kind of come off, but I guess it doesn't. Just how everything looked. We do have some engine compartment area, so if you want to kind of pretend you're working on it, we do have an interim hatch here. This would be probably where you separate the forward and the aft compartment, as well as for your ramp, so you can go down and go into your ramp. With a door off to the side, I'm going to say that it may have something to do with another mechanical bay area, maybe for the wings or something. Not 100% certain, but I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I haven't looked at a schematic, and I do have schematics for these in the old Imperial source book, but I haven't looked in those in many years, so I really haven't worried too much about exactly how everything was set up. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I'm putting this in here. Okay. Yep, this is why I thought this came up, because this kind of wraps around here. Okay, so let's try and get this in its full glory here, and let's try and get our wings and that attached. So this is going to go here. Oops. Landing gear down. That doesn't sit the greatest. Oh, come on, you. There we go. And again, I'm trying to keep everything in frame here, and because I'm looking at what I'm doing and not so much as to what else is going on. Come on, you're almost there. Oh, I guess it's locked in. I didn't hear it clip in, and it looks like there's a little line here. So that's what's bothering me here. Okay. Looks nice. And then we have to get our top piece in there. There we go. All right. And there we are. Holds pretty good. Now it's sitting flat on there, and then as you can see, or hopefully see, we do have Palpatine and two of the guards. So let's get them out of here. So we have a nice view of Palpatine here. Trying to get it so you guys can see this, and it looks a little fuzzy when I do look over to the computer. His skin's kind of grayish, like you expect to see him. Of course, the arms move up, and then he can sit. So I don't know how good or bad that's going to be to try and get him in there. And with everything there now, that's going to be a little interesting too. Trying to get him in there. I guess the best thing to do is let's see how good or bad this is to get him in here with all this stuff on, because I think someone's going to probably want to know. And if I'm here and into the whole mess, let's just figure this all out. And yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit of a trick trying to get, because now you got this piece in the way. Oh, come on. Yeah, that gets tricky now. And that's really in there. So with this in here, now that's going to get tricky trying to get Palpatine in there. I'm just going to be honest, I don't think I'm going to worry too much about it. I think if anything, I might slap him in there or just put him in the front cockpit or something. Actually, it looks like you can get 6 people in here. 1, 2, 3 rows. So yeah, opening this all the way up, you can get 6 people if you can get around your top fin. And that's really going to be a little bit of an issue. I could see a lot of people just right here in this box area just kind of throw figures in there or just throw them in the back and let them jiggle around in there. With that fin in the way, I think that's a little bit of a headache. It looks wonderful, but that fin is a little bit of a headache trying to get figures in there or not. So honestly, oh, that's tight fitting too. I think I might just throw them in there and just leave it that way. That might just become the easiest way to do it. Okay. Wow, this really does go together as a puzzle. Now once I get going on opening and closing, this should probably ease up a little bit more. But I think that's probably about the best way to put them in there. And we'll go from there. So, all right. Well, hopefully this answers any questions. If anybody's got any or whatever of, is it worth getting it or not? I would say it's a wonderful piece to get. If you have the opportunity, you find it locally or whatever, or if you wait for it to go on sale on Amazon, I would definitely try and pick it up because it's definitely going to be a good showpiece. It's an iconic piece. Having a Lambda shuttle like this is always going to be iconic. For role-playing sense, like, my silly self is always thinking of, it's definitely worth having there. And I would say even for all the other ships that we get, even if you're using the larger figures, you could throw these ships out, and I think everybody gets the idea. Okay, it's that, and space is always a limited thing when we're talking about the 28 millimeter. To have a figure here, here I got one locally. even if I'm looking at this with the landing gear down, oops, there. I mean, I think you get the idea. Yeah, it's a little off scale, but you know what? The fact that you've got props here really does help people in understanding what's supposed to be around them. So with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful having you here. Hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.